performance marketing to me is quite a short feedback loop, really. So I think, all marketing should perform. I think some marketing it's hard to see it perform because it's over such a long time horizon. But for someone clicking on a Google shopping ad, searching for a product, that to me is about performance. It's about what is the return on ad spend, the ROAS, that what have we fed into the machine at the top and what's come out at the bottom, and what's that gap.
Welcome to What Gets Measured, a Ninja Cat podcast about marketing, performance management, metrics, and effectiveness. Because what gets measured gets managed. I'm your host, Jake Sanders. Liam Patterson started his first business at age 14 and ran a number of successful e-commerce ventures before co-founding Bidnamic, a marketing technology platform that helps retailers unlock the full potential of Google Shopping. He's been featured on the BBC, The Drum, The Grocer, and a variety of media outlets discussing e-com, marketing, retail, and tech, and he's here today to talk about performance marketing for brands. Liam, welcome to the show.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Thanks for showing up, man. This was a while in the making, so I'm so glad you're here. Let's just start with an overview of Bidnamic. What frustrations led you to start the company? Who were your main clients? Just give us sort of the elevator pitch.
Yeah, absolutely. So we actually kind of came about through scratching our own itch. So we built our own e-commerce marketplace in the print-on-demand space, servicing thousands of artists, illustrators, graphic designers, and we kept finding frustrations around Google Shopping, and particularly around the bidding, making sure that we could get the products, that we were selling on the marketplace onto that Google Shopping carousel on the main page of Google, where all those clicks, all that traffic's happening. So one part was around getting visibility, and the other one was doing it at the right cost. So we could easily get loads of exposure, loads of clicks, loads of revenue, but at a massive cost. So we went deep and looked at every little lever we could turn. A very technical team. My co-founder has a PhD in mathematics, so hyper focused. We were always engineering first approach, and we just looked at first of all the solutions out there, utilized them that got us to a certain level, and then we started engineering our own approach just to unlock that next step. And then our investors turned to us, our angel investors at the time, and said, "Wow, we're amazed by the results you guys have got, the scale of which you're driving revenue and profitability through Google Shopping. Can you do it for our portfolio companies they'd invested in, they'd backed?" And originally we resisted this. We're tech guys. We acquisition focused, doing that through e-commerce. I have no idea about customer service, service level, all that kind of element, B2B, all brand new areas, sales. But actually we just thought, right, let's go for it. Eventually we gave in, worked with some of the portfolio companies, and just got huge results. We were even taken aback, to be honest, by the level of growth we were able to deliver and profitability for businesses that had never had that driving through Google Shopping. And then we realized we were onto something, and hence about 4.5, 5 years on, we're now a team of close to 100. We've got offices in Austin, Texas, in the UK, here in Leeds, and we're working with hundreds of fast growth brands. You asked me to name a few, so I can certainly name drop away, but there's a massive amount of different brands that we work with, all across the main different disciplines as well.
That's amazing. And so it's the same kind of, if you folks out there are doing any search engine stuff, first page is where it all goes down. That's the same thing on Google Shopping, I'm assuming.
That's exactly it. So Google Shopping is always on the first page. So whenever you type in, go to Google looking for a product, pair of sneakers, whatever, Nike trainers, then that carousel is going to come up, and it shows typically about 5 tiles or product listings. So that's the image, it's got the price, it's got the merchant or the seller's name under it, whose website you're going to go through to once you click on. But unfortunately, there's only about 5 tiles, and everybody reads left to right. So it's a bit like Google Pages. Around 60 to 65% of clicks happen on the first impression, the top impression. So it's important to show up. You can imagine how many people in the US might be selling Nike trainers or Adidas trainers, massive amount of retailers. Yeah. And then to get to that top impression, to be able to get there. But the big challenge is that, like other PPC, like SEO, the one that gets that most left-hand side, that top impression, is also the most expensive. So you've got to pay Google the highest cost per click. So unlike, say, Amazon, where it's about being the cheapest, or SEO, where it's about having the most links, having the most relevant content, Google Shopping is a paid marketing channel, and it's just about being able to pay Google the highest for that click and outbidding the other advertisers.
And we have a technical audience. I mean, is there some is there some little bit of kind of, can you let us peek behind the curtains? How do you get your bidding tight? I mean, I assume it's all about the budget you have and making what you can make with that budget. But what are some of those more technical kind of things? Is there like some like aha
Yeah.
moments where you're like, oh man, bidding is really where it's at?
Yeah, definitely. So there's kind of free components to really dominating Google Shopping as a channel for e-commerce retailers. So the first one is the product feed. So making sure that you've got in that feed, which you send into and upload into the Google Merchant Center from your e-commerce store, that it's got relevant information, that you've got the brand name in there, that you've got the type of product it is in there, that you've got these attributes filled out. So size, color, gender, brand, material, you've got that as much populated with as much information as you can. And you, particularly of all of those, it's about the title. So making sure that your title is very similar to what people are going to search, so that you've got the model numbers in there. You've not just got Nike, but you've got Nike, Adidas, but you've got Adidas Super Boost. So that you've got men's in there. You've got the size. So men's size 10, Adidas Super Boost shoe. It's all about getting those, just like SEO title, getting that title to really relevant.
Right.
And that's kind of a one and done. You can optimize it, but as long as it's in a good state, and that's what Google's going to take that information and it's going to match it against the search terms. So what the shoppers are doing when they're going to Google, they're typing in, they're looking for products, and this is where the bidding comes in. So the real key here is to maximize your visibility for what we call high purchase intent traffic. So people who are more specifically searching for what you're selling. So someone could type in shoes or sneakers, and that same product will show up because it is relevant to someone who's searching for sneakers. Someone could then type in Adidas sneakers, more detailed. They're now referencing the brand. That Adidas make a heck of a lot of shoes, right? It could be running, it could be golf, it could be any sport.
Yeah.
So it's still pretty generic, and we call those consideration terms. And then you get the purchase terms. This is where someone's referencing an exact size, style, make, model, a bit like that example we just gave. The size 10 men's Super Boost Adidas running shoe. And that's where you want to put your budget and your spend, because that's where there's much higher revenue per click. So when someone clicks, they're way more likely to buy because they're so in market for what you're selling. So this is what we've developed proprietary at Bidnamic, is firstly an SKU level approach. So every single item is different. So we need to avoid what Google's best practice, which can be around grouping similar products. Say, let's pay 40 cents a click for all of the shoes. Well, that doesn't make sense if you've got shoes that are $200 and some that are $40, some that are on sale and they're at, just 10% margin, whereas some's new season stock and it's full margin. So first of all, we get that big group of products, which for big merchants can be thousands or even tens of thousands of shoes. And we break it down to an individual SKU. So that's the individual size in the individual model in the individual color. And that's what we bid at. And we can do that because of machine learning, because of technology that we've developed here. So we have a single SKU, a single item SKU in a single ad group that we put a bid on. And then we match that against more higher intent traffic. So that's where our technology comes in to profile the search terms, what the customers are shopping, and bid more. And by bidding more at that SKU and search query level, we're able to take that product, and when someone types in Adidas shoe, we're in the middle of the carousel. When someone types shoe, right at the back or not showing up, paying just a cent. And if someone types in that really long tail descriptive search term where they're referencing the size, the color, the age, the gender, the brand, we want to bid really aggressively, but just for that search term against that product to get to the front of the carousel, effectively the top of Google. That top impression gets 60 to 65% of the clicks.
Wow.
So that's the real core of what we're doing. And then the third one, and we can feed those terms back so we can see them and we can feed them back into the Merchant Center feed so people can optimize the title. So it's a bit of a flywheel. And then the third one, which is a brand new technology we've released, is the page speed and the bounce rate. So just like in SEO, Google looks at what happens after the click. Do people bounce immediately? Does the page take a long time to load? What's the experience of Google's customers who are going through post-click? And this feeds into the ad rank and the quality score, which does play a part into your bidding. And what we've developed for Shopify merchants is we've got a headless landing page, which loads instantly. So it scores 100 out of 100. So it's really quick to load. And it's built for the journey of Google Shopping. So most e-commerce stores are built for a linear journey. We imagine customers, shoppers go to the homepage, get a bit to know the brand. Then they might go to a category page, shoes or running shoes. Then they select an item. At the point they're at that product details page, that item level, then it's about they found what they're likely to want. And we want to upsell them. So they found that pair of Adidas shoes. Let's try and sell them some socks, some running shorts. But unfortunately, all of the Google Shopping traffic, unlike search ads or text ads, where you can send it anywhere you want on your website, it all goes through to that product details page. This creates a massive challenge. It means that we're getting terms like that purchase term we reeled off, the Adidas size 10 men's Super Boost shoe, right through to a page. And when they scroll down, they're seeing a recommendation for a pair of shorts and a pair of socks. It's just, it's not right. So what we've done is we look at the most similar alternatives, put them above the fold, load that page super quick. And all of this feeds into lowering the bounce rate, which is when someone clicks on the ad, because on Google Shopping, it's free to show up. You can have as many impressions as you want, but it only costs when someone clicks, a cost per click. And then we minimize the bounce rate on those search terms by showing relevant products and also relevant speed, super fast speed as well. So they're the free flywheels of Google Shopping that we've linked together.
Man, well, I just feel like that's a masterclass. So it seems like the topic of this interview is performance marketing, and that term seems like weird because marketing should always perform. What does this mean to you, and how do you help your clients get them into performance mode?
Yeah, so I think performance marketing to me is quite a short feedback loop, really. So I think all marketing should perform. I think some marketing is hard to see it perform because it's over such a long time horizon. But for someone clicking on a Google Shopping ad, searching for a product, that to me is about performance. It's about what is the return on ad spend, the ROAS that what have we fed into the machine at the top, and what's come out at the bottom, and what's that gap. So is that, have we come in as a team and improved that revenue per click, that return on ad spend? Have we increased the profitability of the sales we're driving? So to me, that's what performance marketing means. It's all about that short term. But I'm also strongly in the camp that performance marketing, it isn't naturally, it's where budgets go, and particularly in hard times where people need to see quick ROI. But I do believe that long-term marketing, things like, let's say, trade shows, events, podcasts, all these things are so important that they're not necessarily, it goes out and you see a windfall of revenue, which some things like Google and Meta and other channels can be. Whereas I think it's important to build the brand. So I always think you can't monetize and have really strong performance marketing without also having invested in that brand. So doing that non-performance marketing, as it were.
I'm trying not to get offended. Non-performance marketing. I'm a non-performance marketer. You're like, oh, good luck, guy. So we also talk a lot about analytics, data, measuring performance. It seems like you're aligned with this ROAS, or actually getting down to profitability. Like, are you actually making money? Are you pushing sales? A lot of marketers are lost in their spreadsheets, saying, oh, it looks pretty good. Like the trend looks good. What metrics are you looking for? And more importantly, how do you keep all the data straight?
Yeah, really good question. So we use all the tracking. One of the first things we look at when we onboard a new client. So we look at, is their tracking accurately set up? So unfortunately, so often these pixels that get set up are either just incorrectly tracking, they're over tracking, they're under tracking. So that's where we start, is we look at, is what the data that has been collected historically and will continue to be collected, is that accurate to what's actually happening? Because often there can be such a disconnect. The marketing team are thinking they're driving thousands and the business is seeing orders of hundreds, and it's like, come on, this needs to be on point. So that's definitely the starting point, is making sure that the data that's being collected is accurate.
Yeah.
And then we use we use the top tools. So we use GA4, we use Google Ads tracking, We use other methods of tracking if that's important to the business.
Mhm.
So we'll work with whatever tracking methods they have, and we can also we can pull that into different ways to be analyzed and utilized to inform what we're doing. And one of the important parts is so that's on the tracking side, but also on the campaign structure. The campaign structure, the way you structure your Google Ads account, really sets up how much information you can get. So most of the data comes back from ad groups on Google. So that's for example, how many impressions, how many clicks, who you're competing with in that ad group. And by having a single product SKU in there, we know that all of that data that we're seeing, of its impressions, clicks, revenue, return on ad spend, CPA, relates to that single SKU, that single item in an exact color, size, gender, rather than a lot of structures we see where people have bundled together 1,000 products and they can now never separate them out because
Yeah.
they've only got one piece of data all relating to that same 1,000 products. So yeah, first of all, it's the on site is the standard tracking, then it's the campaign structure and SKU level, and then triplicated out using Google Shopping campaign priorities to ensure that we were able to manage it at search query level.
And then what, like reporting, what are you handling? Are you handing them like 200-page PDFs being like, things look good? Or how do you kind of help report? I could see why some people might want to bundle everything together so you can get an overall picture of the performance. But when you're saying SKU level, getting more detail, getting more granular, doesn't that just lead to like 1,000-page marketing report?
It sure could do. I'm not sure many people would want to read it though, right?
No, no, there would have to be
And
pictures and
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, exactly. So what we do is we typically have weekly or bi-weekly calls with the clients. So they'll have a dedicated data analyst, a dedicated strategist, and then we'll ask. Well, and during those conversations, we'll be like, "What data matters to you? What strategy are you working on?" Because we can't work in a silo. We can't just optimize a channel without knowing the context of what's going on in the business, in the market, in their competitors. That's all the stuff that they live and breathe. New product launches, stock outs, all this information that we're not aware of because it's we're in the moment. We don't know what's coming and strategically might be happening in the future. It's they're the experts.
Yeah.
So we have these typically weekly calls with the teams, with the clients, and on there they'll also have a live dashboard, and they'll have access to their own tools as well, Google Analytics, AdWords, and we'll build out dashboards, which just make the information super intuitive, easy to see. But also, if they want a custom report, if their CEO, let's say, has knocked on their desk and said, "Hey, I want to see this about this product. How's it doing?" What's great about the SKU level is, and also the search query level, is we can pull those reports and we can show them how to do it themselves, and they can just have that level of being super hyper focused, or they can just have, here's the high level. And we have clients who we might just check in with them every quarter because they're just so confident they can be freed up to focus their time on other areas.
Mhm.
So it really depends on the teams, but yeah, we have all the live dashboards, the reporting, the tracking, as well as that human touch to discuss the strategy and the and what we're finding as well.
I think that's so key. Making sure you talk to the strategist and say, "What's your strategy?" Talk to the data analyst. What data are you looking for? It's like, duh. But a lot of people will just say, "Here's the reports. Here's what we did." It's amazing that you're linking with the businesses you're working with and giving them things that make sense to them so they can understand what's going on. Because a lot of this, boy, that's going right over people's heads. God bless you for doing this. But
And
keeping
also we can add benchmarks, so a lot of advertisers, they see a number 22%. Is that good or bad? There's no context
Yeah,
to
right. Exactly.
it.
Yeah, what's the context here? 20% is not bad. A lot of people in digital marketing are like 20% are real good. Um, but keeping track of all this stuff, working with people, you realize that there's that connection, but you're also it says on your bio that you're bullish for AI. I could imagine it helping you keep track of all these things. How do you see AI aiding the quest of performance marketers out there? And would we ever be in danger of replacing ourselves?
Yeah, I think, yeah, it's interesting. So I think absolutely, I think there's so much leverage that AI can give us. It can just make a job which might take an hour, which might be super boring, which might be we can just get ahead of it. We can start with it being done 80%, and then we can add that 20%, whether that's adding the context, the human touch to it, whether that's being informed by data we couldn't have enough time to read. So we're able to leverage it in that way. So I think it's a really, really powerful tool, and I think the teams that adopt it are going to get incrementally faster, and they're going to be able to do tasks incrementally better, which means that we're going to be able to be freed up to focus and be more strategic and use that time more effectively across the businesses and across the clients' businesses. So I think it's a real aid, and I don't see it as a threat, because there's a lot of risk in marketing. People want to be handheld. People want to be advised. They're only ever looking at their data, whereas for us, we're managing hundreds of Google Shopping accounts, many of the biggest accounts in the world. So the context we're able to bring is from that proprietary data set, from the strategies that we're hearing, that we're having those conversations with. So AI is great in giving you information, but often this information is isolated because it's
Right.
unique, it's proprietary, it's
Mhm.
confidential. Whereas we're able to give someone that confidence to say, hey, you're not alone. We're seeing this across hundreds of businesses in your sector in North America selling similar products. What they've done to overcome this has been this. We've tried it in this and that way. And I think like that's that context, that empathy is really a part of marketing as well.
Wow. It's so interesting using AI as sort of like a periscope, just like it can help you get a larger understanding of the landscape, which would not be possible if we're just using our soft, wet brains. Um, so I want you to give me a story. Can you give me an example where you've seen performance marketing totally knock it out of the park? And conversely, can you share a story about a time when performance marketing struck out?
Yeah, absolutely. So I suppose a great one was a retailer who had golf balls. So North American retailer, they're golf specialists, and they had these products, so just pro golf balls. And anyway, got a call, and the guy's like, "Hey, what's this? Spending way too much, spending like I don't know $5 a click on this product, which is like $20. The golf balls and like that, super low
Woo!
margin." And we were like, "Okay, that doesn't sound good." You know what I mean? Like, okay, what's gone on here? So we looked into the account, we looked through the data, and at that SKU level and search query level, and we are able to see actually this product was a gateway product. So yeah, it was very low value, it was very low margin, and we were paying a hell of a lot for that click relative to the items, the golf balls, pack of golf balls. But what it was actually drawing customers in who were then buying ping jumpers. They were getting drivers, they were getting all these other accessories, and they were checking out spending $300-400 on average. So again, that was a really interesting part where when we set these things up, we think about often, well, there's a lot of advice around grouping products around their RRP. Don't pay a lot for a super low value product. Around their margin, don't pay a lot for a super low margin product. But actually, the AI detected that the trend was much higher. They were bundling high margin products, they were bundling large cart values. So I think that was a great example of something that, had we followed the logic, we would never have done. But actually, the AI detected and automated and followed the real revenue and the real profitability.
Awesome.
So I think that was a great example of AI and automation
Love that.
kicking in there.
Uh,
In terms of the
yeah, yeah.
inverse,
Give us the horror story. Talk about
yeah.
a dumpster fire, Liam. Just do it.
Yeah, exactly. So I think there's always the challenge around search queries and very, very similar terms. So in the title of these products, they can often relate to other words that no one would ever think they are.
Right.
So someone had written a title and it was driving a lot of traffic, a lot of clicks, because it was so low value compared to what that product would be. But actually, it was nothing to do with it. So Google was matching the title that had been in there against a random assortment of products, and in this case, it was actually like it was matching the a cutout, cardboard cutout of a celebrity against like against the film titles and stuff like that, and people were just like curious, oh, what is that? It seems really low value, and they were clicking through, and it wasted a huge amount of spend, because of Google linking it to this query which was totally irrelevant. Again, because we could see that search query, we were able to bid it down and really reduce the visibility, which wouldn't have been possible under Performance Max, which is a way of Google doing some bidding where you can't see that search query data, and that spend had been wasted there for a long time. So having that visibility allowed us to do it, but it was pretty shocking when we saw it coming up for a totally wrong search query and wasting spend.
Well, and you can see where the machine was thinking. And you're like, yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, it's a Ryan Gosling cutout, but now you're showing me Blade Runner 2049.
yeah,
Not quite what I was looking for, but I
yeah.
understand. Performance Max, you said something about Performance Max. Do you kind of just want to maybe talk about how it's good or it's bad? I know a couple agencies that are using that for their clients. Some having great experience, some not. Um,
Yeah.
what do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So Performance Max is a way to manage Google Shopping campaigns and search campaigns, and it's really it takes the product feed and it goes across all the different channels. So in our opinion, it's a way for Google to get more volume. Google Shopping is hyper competitive, very high cost per click. You've got to be really really good at those three areas of
Mhm.
having a good relevant product feed, having a great on-site experience with a lower bounce rate, higher conversion rate, high fast page, and also good at understanding the bidding and campaign structure as well. Whereas Performance Max will allow you to be okay at a lot of things. It'll put it on YouTube, it'll put it on display network, it'll run search ad campaigns. So I'd say it's good for a business who doesn't where search and Google isn't their number one channel. It's also pretty good for businesses who wouldn't have the budget to run a campaign on YouTube or on
Right.
display network, or on remarketing or other areas, but actually they've got the right type of products. They've got cool, sexy, trendy products that will do well on YouTube and
Mhm.
those types of media. When it does badly is the inverse. When someone's got B2B products, they've got cleaning products, they've got non-exciting products that really, why would you ever watch a YouTube video and click and buy that? Like, there's no connection there.
People are
And yet,
offended out there. People are offended, be like, my product's not unsexy. It's
hey,
carpet.
it's all up to it's up to personal interpretation, right?
Whatever you want.
So yeah, but I think the real challenge kind of touches on the AI. So it's an AI driven approach, a machine learning driven approach, but it doesn't give you any transparency. So you can't see the search queries, you can't see the detail of the placement where your ads are appearing, what website. You can't see how much Google's paying for certain search queries or certain locations where those ads are being played. So it gives you no real deep way to really challenge the data, and equally very limited to no way to really optimize it, because you don't have that data. You can't see that it's wasting money on that cardboard cutout. You can't also see that it's those golf balls that are really driving the transaction value and where those sales are coming from. So it's good for as a quick way to turn on. It's good for smaller budgets, but once you've got to a Google Shopping being a real channel, or any of those parts within Performance Max, I think they warrant their own experts to come in, because an expert agency is going to dominate display ads. They're going to dominate YouTube. We can assist on dominating Google Shopping and search. So I think that's my opinion. Just because until they open up that data, it's so black box, and I think that is maybe the risk of AI, is that AI without any human oversight is a challenge. It makes doing the work harder.
Well, you point out the fact that everyone's worried about AI and all this stuff, but we've been dealing with the black box of algorithms for a while now. And if it's on Amazon, if it's on Facebook, if it's on Google, we've all had experience trying to understand, like, what does this mean? How do they match these terms? How do I, we've been fighting this fight. So it's interesting that AI is actually helping us do it better. Something just to maybe simmer on the stovetop there. But if you have given us so many amazing things about performance marketing, how to really drill in a campaign, and how you can work with analysts and strategists to really make sure that everything's zinging, and you can track back the sales to what your efforts are. If you could consolidate all of this and cook it down, what would your one piece of advice be for the audience when it comes to performance marketing?
I think one piece of advice would just be to keep questioning, keep questioning the strategy, the assumptions, and I think if you're always questioning, you're always interrogating what you're getting back and the answers you're getting back, then I think you're always going to be in a great place to find that next hypothesis, to build that up, to test that out again, and it's that continuous cycle of execute, learn, re-execute. It's that never-ending cycle.
True. That's beautiful and very eloquently said. If people want to connect with you and learn more about you online, how can they do that, Liam?
Yeah, absolutely. If they're interested in the Google Shopping side of things, what we're doing at Bidnamic, they can head over to Bidnamic, bidnamic.com. They can even request a demo there. So, and there's loads of resources, content, trend reports, white papers, you name it. It's all over there to geek out on or even speak to some of our team on. If they're interested in following myself, then I'm on LinkedIn, Liam Patterson, Bidnamic.
Cheese or chocolate?
Are you ready?
Sure.
Cheese or chocolate?
Chocolate.
Last click or first click?
Last click.
Natch. Star Wars or Star Trek?
Star Wars.
Okay. Cook at home.
A lot of people in my office will disagree with that.
Well, yeah, I'm saying we can talk about it later in the chat. This will blow it up. Cook at home or order in?
Order in.
Right? It's just better. I could cook, but boy, it's nice when it just shows up.
Exactly. It may not be as good for the waste or the health, but
I know. It's just nice. Drinking from a garden hose, yes or no?
No.
No? Have you had hose water, like good hose water? Anyway, let's go. We will talk about this offline. And finally, and maybe most contentiously, Paul or John?
John.
Nice. It's the only rock and roll answer, right?
What Gets Measured is a Ninja Cat podcast. Please rate and review the show wherever you find your podcasts. Share this episode on social and visit us on the web at ninjacat.io.